Hello, this is Craig Mertens, Director of Product Education for Inktavo, the parent company of GraphicsFlow, InkSoft, Printavo, and now SignTracker. I have Joel Taylor with me from Success. He's one of the people that gets you guys out of jail for free when you run into problems with your platform and you need help. Joel is an invaluable resource and probably one of the most knowledgeable people that I know about the InkSoft platform. And Joel is who I go to when I have questions, and hopefully I'm not too big of a pest here, because I'm always learning as well. All right, we've got that on the recording now, so it's confirmed. So what we want to talk about today is, I made the topic bringing InkSoft stores to life. And Joel and I were talking about this before the webinar. Not everybody's a web developer. Not everybody has the skill set to build out custom websites in platforms like, WordPress or writing HTML code from scratch. But there's a really nice middle ground where you can really do some nice things in your InkSoft platform to create a very aesthetically pleasing, effective, and efficient store, but doesn't require as much skill as you would probably think. What it does require is motivation to do it, because I know we're all busy, but it also requires a little bit of creativity. And so my goal today, what my goal today is to spark a little bit of creativity with you folks. So thank you for joining us today. I'm going to share my screen now. What are you seeing on the screen right now? You are seeing the kind of the ultimate use case for InkSoft. This is Jack Prince. This is a very large company. They sell apparel. They also sell paper products. They do stickers. They do banners. A big part of their business is people uploading their own artwork and printing. It's really kind of their specialty. But this entire website is built on InkSoft. Their main website is an InkSoft website. And I think partially one of the reasons that they do that is it's very easy to maintain and change. But also they have a lot of the InkSoft tools that are actually integrated into their website for uploading artwork, getting quotes, and designing. And I really, really like this website. And the reason I brought it up is it checks the boxes. Types of things that I think are really important to have on your website. It's doing all of those things. And we're gonna kind of start at the bottom, and we're gonna rate this website and kind of talk a little bit about, how they constructed it and what it, kind of its general purpose. But if you look at the website, there's a couple components that are just automatically going to be populated when you create a website or a store in InkSoft. And bear in mind, InkSoft can be your main store. In the case of Jack Prince, it's their main store. But also you can certainly create stores that are just specific to customers. So first thing I always look for is contact information. Can people locate us, find us? I am a huge advocate in my own consumer habits to going to the About. I always want to see, what are these guys about? I'm always wanting to find out where, kind of companies where their values are at, a little bit about their origin story. I think that's a really important aspect to any website. And they set up actually a really nice about page. They also have a knowledge base that they've built in, but they've added quite a few custom pages in here. And sign in, create account, forgot password. That's the portal for, looking at your orders. The customers can, have access to that once they create a design, and the designer, they can go and look at past orders, and they can look at their artwork or anything they've uploaded or anything they've designed in the designer. Contact information, hypertext link to the phone number and email, and then all of their social media links, including Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and maybe they're not doing TikTok, but we're seeing TikTok pop up on there more frequently these days. Now let's scroll up to the top here. And at the top, you have their main site navigation. Yeah, so I think this is a custom content block, which we're gonna dig into that pretty big. But they've set up hypertext links here, and they have some movement and animation in terms of featuring a product. So this is a kind of a slide over banner here is set up as a slideshow. Talks about new products, things that they're featuring. It's set up on a rotation, so it's cycling every few seconds based on the parameters that they input into that particular web component. And then they're talking about what they do, their menu of services. So here's all the neat things that they're doing. Obviously, they're really featuring business cards at this point, so they want you to see what's going on there. And a little bit of company bio, some pictures of their staff. I think that's always a really nice touch. Some basic information about their corporate philosophy. I think one of the things they really focus on is, being a one-stop shop, which they truly are. And they have a sophisticated art department as well. So they're showcasing, their offerings to the customer. And then you have, again, a little bit repetitive, you have links to products here. and user reviews, and then also a quote form, request a quote. And hopefully most of you are aware that's a component in InkSoft that you can add the request a quote component. It's pretty easy to customize. So this website for me checks the boxes. It has the social media, it has the contact information, it's got a portfolio of work using photographies, it has direct links to key products. I think it's aesthetically attractive. The one thing I like about it, it has very consistent branding. It's got good colors. It's not complicated. And I think a lot of times people have a tendency to create websites that are overly complex. And why do they do that? Maybe because they can. I think there's a beauty in simplicity. Joel, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. You want to make the customer experience as simple as possible. I think it just comes down to that. If you make your page too big, customers might have trouble navigating it and not make a sale. So,
yeah, and I think, when people land on your site and you don't have a lot of time for them to make a decision, when I'm, my consumer habits, when I'm looking and researching products and looking to purchase things, if I'm not really tuned into your site, or if it's too complicated. I was on a site this morning that I was looking at a consumer product for, and their navigation wasn't mobile friendly at all. I was on my iPad. It was like literally impossible to select the drop-down list on there. I was fighting with it. And I think that's another area where having mobile friendliness is critically important. Can you talk a little bit about that, Joel?
So with InkSoft, all of the components in Style Editor, except for the content block, come out of the box ready for mobile. So if you don't use a content block, you don't really need to worry about, tuning for the mobile experience. But if you do use content block, there's things you can do, but you might need some HTML in order to format that for mobile.
I think the important thing to remember about content block when we get into it, content block is your license for creativity. And so that's a place where we enable you to go in and put custom HTML and really do the kind of things that you could do in just about any kind of web development platform are not necessarily as easy to do. And when we get into content block, you'll really see the power behind that. And I think content block is about 6 or 7 years old, but it's something that I notice a lot of our clients are using because they're adding some fairly innovative things to their site. And so we'll dig into content block when we build out a store. But I want to show you a few more stores just to kind of inspire you and give you a few ideas of some of the things that people are doing. I'm going to zip over here to Mark Heiss's store over at Yellow Springs. And Mark Heiss is not only a good customer of ours, but he's also a friend. And he has a thriving business in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And he hosts stores for a wide variety of people. So this is his kind of store platform site where people go to if they want to, sign up, and he wants to host a store for them. And you'll notice he's got all the kind of right links here. He has links to some of the common web stores that he's hosting for people. And in his particular case, his market niche is, I guess you would call it the outdoor crowd, so to speak. Like here's a site for the Buckeye Trail in Ohio. One of the things that he does that's kind of interesting is he also sells merchandise through the store that he doesn't make, where he's just kind of doing that as a courtesy for the organization. But most of the things that you'll see here are things he makes. 100% of the decoration that he does, he's doing through his direct-to-film printer. He was one of the very early adopters of direct-to-film, invested in a direct-to-film printer in the summer of 2020. But this is a pretty expansive store. So there's probably a few things in here that I'm trying to, here you go, these guides and maps. So the guides and maps, he's not manufacturing those, but he's inventorying them and shipping them on behalf of the customer. And they also have a program when people sign up as supporters of the organization. They have kind of a welcome kit. If you sign up and you pay your fees, they have a welcome kit. He does all the distribution of that. It's actually a really nice store. I like what he did with color blocking. And you'll notice that he's grouped like products together. That's just generally speaking a best practice to book like products together. One thing that he does which is rather interesting, is he does offer a lot of color variety. I asked him about that and I said, hey, why do you offer so many colors? And he goes, listen, I order from Sanmar twice a week. So I do a Monday order and then I do a Thursday order. So for me, it's really not that big of a deal to offer all the different colors because I'm just doing orders twice a week and I'm using InkSoft to collate all my orders. So I know what I need to order from all the different, folks that are ordering throughout all of my stores. So I think he positioned it as a value add to his customer. And that's one of the benefits of having a process like direct-to-film transfers or DTG. It's another good example of a print-on-demand process. And sublimation is another good example where he doesn't really have to stock anything. And, based on the pricing that he's selling product at, he's got enough room there that he can do small orders and still make money. Now, interesting enough, just a little sidebar, he was on a webinar and asked him once, I said, hey, how do you determine a revenue share program? Because all of his stores are 100% revenue share, meaning he's setting the retail pricing, he's collecting the money, he's paying them a percentage. And he told me, he said, I sit down with the customer and said, hey, listen, if you want to sell this t-shirt for $20, I can give you a 15% revenue share, or 20, we'll just call it 20%. But if you want a bigger revenue share, we can do that. So if you want 25%, then we need to sell the shirt for $25. If you want 30%, we need to sell the shirt for $30. And he doesn't negotiate on that. And I think the way that he positions it, which is pretty smart, is telling the client, hey, you don't have to do anything. I'm taking all the risk. You're not having to stock inventory. And any of these groups and organizations, and I know this firsthand from being a volunteer in quite a few different organizations over the years, we end up getting stuck with inventory. I remember we did the merch for an event, it's quite a few years ago, and we had great looking merch, but the color that we thought was going to be the big seller was not the big seller. We ended up stuck with that. And the color that we didn't think was going to be the big seller or as big a seller blew out. And what I would probably do in today's market is I would go and open up a store after the fact and sell all my, unused merchandise. But being able to position that with the customer and say, hey, listen, there's no risk to you. We're going to handle everything. We're going to handle the money, all the tax stuff. All you guys are going to do is collect a check. And as Mark likes to put it, he calls that mailbox money. And the definition of mailbox money is when you go to the mailbox once a month and there's a check in there and you really have to do anything for it. This is a pretty good example. And you'll notice he's got a link here to make your own. So if somebody is completely unrelated to the Buckeye store, but they just want to order merch for their kids' Little League team, can go design something on his store or upload their artwork, and they can order through this store with the designer, and Mark is still paying the Buckeye store the revenue share. So how clever is that, being able to, say to the customer, hey, listen, we'll put the designer in your store, and if people just want to order non-related things, you'll make money on that too as part of your revenue share. And in all of his stores, another thing that you'll notice, if you go back to his homepage, right here, he has Art Portal. That's the art portal from our sister company's GraphicsFlow. So if you go and click on Art Portal, and maybe you don't necessarily know, what kind of design you're looking for, Mark will direct his clients to the Art Portal, and he'll say, hey, listen, go to my Art Portal. It's right on my homepage. You guys are kind of doing outdoor stuff. So just type in outdoor, and you'll see a bunch of outdoor graphics. And if you see something that you like, or you like visually, don't worry about the text or the copy or the colors or anything like that. You can just come in here and click on it, and then you'll fill out a little form, and this will come into me and I'll mock it up for you. And so this is by virtue of the GraphicsFlow technology, and GraphicsFlow really works quite beautifully with InkSoft. They're very complementary towards each other. I'm going to jump over to Ram Specialties real quick. And this is a very good client of ours. It's both a GraphicsFlow customer as well as an InkSoft customer. And Allison's a little bit different. With the way Allison works, she's really more of a promotional products distributor. She's always kind of a one-person operation. Now she's got a full-time person working for her now because she's grown so much. But her whole business is built around stores, and her primary customers are schools, teams, sports, small business. And one of the things that I appreciate about her main homepage, she likes to show visual examples of before and after. Hey, these are what the blank products look. But once I get done decorating them, this is what they're going to look like. And she puts, basic information about her story, how to contact her, FAQ. This is her business card. She's basically using her homepage as a business card. And one of the things that I like that she did is she put a portfolio of her work. She's not a graphic designer, but I'm telling you, every graphic on here she did herself. She doesn't really use outsourced people too often. And these are primarily graphics from GraphicsFlow that she's just modded up and posted a little gallery here. And she did a smart thing. She made the thumbnails just big enough that they look good, but not too big that people can steal her ideas. She also has that GraphicsFlow art portal in here. So she's got that embedded into her site. And her website is ramspecialtyproducts.com. If you're a GraphicsFlow user and you're looking for good copy to add to your art portal, she's actually got some pretty good copy in here. I borrowed that for my demo portal. I trimmed it down a little bit, but what I really like about what she says here, she explains kind of the idea behind the portal is that, hey, this is a starting point. So select your favorites and add a note such as, I like this font, I like this layer, I'll have the text is arched. Once you've made a note about a specific design layout, you'll click Add Item, continue this process until you're satisfied with the selections. Once you're finished, scroll down and choose Submit Design. So she gives very specific instructions. Why is she doing this? She's doing it because she doesn't want to have to do custom art for people all the time. And if you're having to do custom art for clients all the time, especially on small orders, that's probably the least profitable business that you do. Now, certainly, if you're doing very highly customized, high touch, complicated artwork, and you have big, giant orders or a lot of reorders, it makes sense to do that. But she uses her art portal as a way to kind of expedite the art collaboration process and not have to do custom art. And if you look at her design gallery, it's almost exclusively things that came from, they never look exactly the same. This is our demo showcase for InkSoft, all these kind of neat demo stores that we built out. If you're looking for ideas or inspiration for some fun things that you can do with stores, this is a great place to start. And these stores, they all have one thing in common. They're very clean and simple. And I am a big fan of clean and simple when it comes to stores. And they have good visuals. These stores all have really good visuals in them. So I would encourage you to go to that website and go in there and dig around a little bit. And then last but not least is BeeGraphix. BeeGraphix, we did a profile on them. And if you go to inksoft.com and go to blogs, you can read the profile we did on them. They host 1,000 InkSoft stores. 1,000 InkSoft stores. They have 1,000 customers using InkSoft stores. Almost their entire production method is either printing direct-to-film transfers in-house with their own equipment, or in some cases outsourcing through external suppliers. They're huge in terms of fundraising. That's a big part of what they do, but they tie customers up with stores, and they don't always do public-facing stores. Even if they have a customer that doesn't have a public-facing store, even if the store isn't public facing, they still set a store up for them because you can use the customer portal. Customer can initiate a reorder or design something themselves. So this is just one example, one out of 1,000 stores. And the lifesaver for them was when we came out with store cloning, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Joel, do you want to talk about store cloning? Let me back into InkSoft.
Yeah. So at first, you would just copy the store layout, but we actually expanded upon that feature. And now you have the option to not only clone the store layout, but you can also bring in the same products from one store to another. And you can also replace artwork in bulk, which is huge. It saves a ton of time. That's actually independent from the clone store feature. So you don't have to clone a store if you want to make copies of your products or replace artwork in bulk.
Yeah, you can do the bulk art replacement just within a store. What the clone stores feature does for you is you have a starting point. So instead of having to pick out your favorite components and your favorite products, what you would do is you would take your master store, your main store, and you would curate your products into your main store. The way product works in InkSoft is if I go to InkSoft Core and I go to my product and I add a new product, I assign that to a store. So if I want to go over here and add a new product from a specific supplier or manufacturer, maybe I wanted to add something from AutoCap. When I go in and I select those products, if I add these to my main store, I can also copy them to my catalog. That becomes my master catalog. So you don't have to dig through all 17,000 products that are fed into InkSoft. Do you want to talk about copying products to your main catalog and the role of your main store?
When you bring a product into InkSoft, you just need to add it one time, and it's automatically going to assign that product to your main store. Once you have a product in your account, it's there forever, and you can reuse it as many times as you want to. So it's pretty convenient.
If I go over to manage products here and I go to store and I want to see all the products that are in the Circus Print store, there's 25 products in this main catalog, and we don't have a lot of promotional products in here. But one thing that we do have in here is we have signage products in here. So we have a gang sheet for direct to film. We have a banner. We have an 18 by 24 Coroplast sign and decals. And so we have products in here that are what we call signage products, not just apparel. So this really is my main product selection for stores, so I don't have to dig through every SKU of Gildan or every SKU that's provided by SNS.
The big takeaway with InkSoft is instead of just having a big list of products to choose from with every product available, say from SNS or Sanmar, with InkSoft, you add those products to your account first, and now they're your products, and you're free to do whatever you want with them, which is the benefit. Let's say you only want to offer a front and a back for a product. You can do that with InkSoft, or you want to offer certain colors on certain stores. You can do that with InkSoft. So you can really tailor the products to do whatever you want to. You have that flexibility, whereas if you're just limited to accessing the products, you wouldn't have those options.
And the other thing too that comes up is, in some cases, you as the person that's hosting stores are also the manufacturer, or there's a manufacturer that we don't offer. You can bulk upload products from manufacturers as a data format, and if you have photography, you can bulk upload products. But here's where you add a manufacturer. So if you're the manufacturer, let's say you're sewing bandanas and you've created a cute bandana line, and you're adding your bandanas to InkSoft into your main store, this is where you would add yourself as a manufacturer. And you would just go in and put yourself as a manufacturer in here and save that. And then you can add products into that manufacturer, and then all of your products are available as under that manufacturer. And then you can also subcategorize them, which I think is a really smart thing to do. So the reason we're showing you this is curating those products is going to be a really important part of cloning. And when you clone a store, if you make a model store that has everything that you are frequently selling, it's very easy to clone that over and then just disable the products that you're not going to offer that client. One of the things that's unique about this particular store is, this is a quick store that I set up for the school market, but you'll notice right here that we have an object right here that is a shirt, and you can click on customize design, and this takes you right to the designer where you can customize this. And that's a very good use of both the InkSoft designer and the content block. We can go into the store and add the designer, just don't make the link available. But what the designer allows the customer to do is they can go in all of a sudden into their account, and if they have a design they created, and if they want to go in and re-edit their design, they can do that because we have the designer enabled within their store, but we also have the ability for her to upload artwork and get a quote. So if the client wanted to just upload this Nashville design and get a quote real quick, or just see what it looked like on a t-shirt or a hat, they could do that without enabling the designer. When we create the store, they're not going to have the option of doing that. Now, with that being said, if they had no artwork they saved at all in their store, and they had no way to link to the designer, they would never know it was there. So it's kind of an up to you thing. And as I was talking about before, you can always create a store that's not public facing, but purely exists for the purposes of customers going in, viewing their past orders, going into their portal and initiating a reorder. I can go and initiate a reorder. The store is not always what you think it is. It's not always just this public facing thing where people go to buy merch. Sometimes it's just the order portal where people go to get quotes. It's where folks go to utilize the designer to upload artwork, maybe from their marketing department. It's where they go to look at their past orders and initiate a reorder. It's where they go to look at designs that they've built out and maybe they want to re-edit. It's where they see any artwork that they've uploaded. That is by virtue of a store. And so I have a client that he sets up a store for every single one of his new clients. When he signs up a new customer, he'll create a store for that customer. So that store is going to be managed by whoever the quote store manager is. And if you go into marketing and you want to set up an account for a customer, just as a proactive thing, once you set up their store, you set up their store for them. They don't even have to have seen the store if they don't want to. Yep. So I would go over here and add a new user account.
Yep.
And hit apply. This is where I'd assign that person to the store, and I'd put all their credentials in. So this is where you'd go in here, you'd save it. You could give them a VIP discount if you wanted to. Once you have them in there, then you can go adjust their permission level.
You could just delete your search and view all.
Sheila's a responsible individual. And so what we're going to do with Sheila is we're going to go in and change her permission level And right now she's currently set to none. So she's got the bare minimum permissions to do it. She can just go into her account. That's it. She'd save artwork. So if I change her to store manager, she's now got a little bit more access within her customer portal. And so that's one of the things that she can see is orders for the store, whether if it was just a consumer that checked out. A consumer that checked out would have an account. They'd be able to log in, but they're not going to be able to see everybody else's orders. If you were setting up a revenue share program with Sheila's organization, and Eagle Strong, and she just wanted to say, hey, where are we at for the month? Because she's now a store manager, she can go to her portal and see all the orders for them. That's, I think, a good best practice when you're working with new customers. You tell them and you explain to them that's a benefit of doing business with me is because you're doing business with me, we'll set up a customer portal where you can go and view your orders, where you can, if you want to get a quote, if you want to upload your own art or play around with the designer, we'll do that. So just look out for that email that's coming your way, because as soon as I set somebody up and I hit save, they get an email to do their password. You always want to recommend that they bookmark their store login and that they set their password. And I think just a reminder email to say, hey, just want to make sure you're all tucked in would be a good best practice. We want to do this process after we set the store. So I think a best practice is creating a store for every new customer, subscribing the head person as a store manager, sending them the little invite to set up their password, and we'll just go into stores now and we'll show you kind of how like a typical program might work. So I have set quick stores up in here. And so I have a quick store right here that is a signage store. We'll kind of take a quick look at that one. So this is a store where we could sell signed products, and you notice it has signed products built into here. I just built this store based on things I liked visually. I put in some examples of our work that I believe that's through a content block there. I added a little blurb here on get a quote. It says now offering selected apparel items. We put one of our own products in there if they want to support us and just buy some merch with our products. But the primary purpose of this store is to sell signage, specifically banners, yard signs, and decals. So this is a template. So if I want to launch a store for, let's say, selling graduation banners, I'd probably start with this store because it already has the products built in here. Another quick store here that I set up for corporate. So here's a corporate quick store right here, which is just your basic corporate store with a logo, and it has two basic graphics. It's got a placeholder embroidery graphic, and it's got a placeholder corporate logo graphic right here. And in this particular store, I put like the 6 most common products that people would sell for corporate. And then I have another store template that I set up. And there's nothing special you have to do to make a template. You just save it as a store. And I would probably recommend naming it template. So you knew it wasn't really a real store. It was just kind of a starting point store. So we'll go over here to the school store. This should look fairly familiar. Same idea. When you're setting up your model store, I think it's a best practice to include the main products that you're going to just consistently sell. You know, is it your top 20? Is it your top 10? Is it your top 30? But those products that you're most likely to offer the customer should be in that sample store, because when I clone the store, then those products will come over. And let me show you exactly what I mean. We're going to come over to this store right here, this East Eagles Booster store right here. And I'm going to click on clone store. Very important. Right here, include products in store. So I'm going to give this store a name, and I'll come over here and give it a dogs, and InkSoft will check to make sure that's not used already. You don't have to use the InkSoft domain. We can adjust that and alter that so it's going to the customer's domain. You want to talk about that for a second, Joel?
So any store can have a unique domain in InkSoft. And on top of that, if you want to share a domain with multiple stores, you can do that as well by attaching a domain to your main store. So you've got options there.
You'll notice that I have include products in store selected here, and there's a very good reason why I did that. By virtue of including products in store artwork, I'm going to get a prompt. I don't want to go directly to the store front. What I really want to do is replace art in bulk, because currently in this store, what's there? Well, right in this store right now, we got all the East Eagles designs. So maybe I'll just change the embroidery file here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say replace art, and I'm going to upload a new embroidery file. So here's my DST file for my embroidery. And I'm going to go and kind of adjust the colors here. So the colors for this particular design are going to be this white here. And then over here, we're going to use a different embroidery palette. I'm going to use Madeira. And I'm going to use this fun little rhubarb hot kind of red color here. So we're actually parsing out the colors in the embroidery design. And these are based by color changes. So every color change in the DST file, we're reading that out, and we're allowing you to reassign thread colors from your chosen palette to that. So as soon as I click on upload here, any artwork that had those products in it is going to get swapped out. So all my embroidery products here, like my auto hat, just got swapped out with that graphic. You can do that within just products for the store, because right now I'm in store admin and here's all the products. I can do the same thing for, any of the art. If I go down here to artwork and I select this one right here, I can replace every product that this design has with the same design, but just the Cougars version of it. And here's the Central Cougars version of it right here. Replace. So now every product has that design in it, and we could actually go through all these and do that if we wanted to. So I'll just do a few of those so you guys can get the general idea. So now when I go to store products, it's going to look a little bit different. I'm still going to have a mix because I'm going to still have some products with the other logos, but you notice how I'm just globally swapping out the logos here. And that's a huge, huge handy thing to do, because now also I have the ability to do colorways. Because what I was doing with this store is I was uploading PDF files, which are vector. And so because those files are vector, it makes it real easy to do colorways. I think one of the things that's a little bit confusing is, man, how do I get back to that artwork? Well, what you want to do is you want to go over here to pricing and styles. You don't want to click on the check or any of that or edit over here. What you just want to do is click on edit design and styles, which is pretty obvious, I think. And this is where you can move the design around. If I picked a design that was vector, which in this case, this is a vector design, and this one was actually a bitmap design, then I have access to colorways. And so that's one of the advantages of working with like SVG or PDF files, is it will parse out the colors. So I can go down here and say, create colorway, and take all the blue ink in here and make it gray, which will probably look pretty decent. Let's see, probably a little bit darker, I'm thinking. Hit done, make sure to hit save. And then when you're reassigning, the easiest way to do is click on the product, then click on the colorway, and then just apply changes, and then make sure to save and publish. And this is also where you'd override the price if you wanted to charge more for this particular store. That's where you do it. So that global art swap is just super handy. And you can just use that for art in general or art that's within a store. It's just kind of it's up to you how you want to do it. And where that's really handy is if you have a corporate logo store and you just have the same corporate logo on 50 products, one click, and all 50 of the products are swapped out with the new logo. Bearing in mind that sometimes it's not going to be perfectly placed on the shirt because the proportions of the logo are different. Like it might be a really narrow, thin logo. So you still might have to go in to edit designs and reposition it occasionally. So it'll be very obvious to you if you need to do that. So anything you'd like to add in here while we're in here, Joel?
But you can also edit your pricing and stuff in bulk too inside store admin. You just check the boxes next to the products you want to adjust, and then hit your blue 3 dots in the top right. Yeah. Edit product details, and you can change all of your pricing in one page, which is nice.
We've got our store set up here, and we're in store admin. And we talked about why it's generally, I think, a good idea to enable the designer, even if you don't necessarily intend to make that public. And if you want to go back to one of your existing stores and do that just so the customer can have access to maybe uploading their own art and getting quotes, you would just want to come over here and click on the cog and then enable the designer, turn it on. And there's a couple things that are important in here. In this particular store, I have not enabled any stock designs in the designer. I'm purely allowing the customer to upload art and get a quote. But maybe I want to put a few stock designs in here, just like a small category, or maybe I want to create a stock design that's just custom to that customer. I can do that. And in this case, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go over and add a custom design that I created from the East Eagles Booster Club. And you notice I have 8 East Eagles designs that I've added to. I created a category and added them. So the only thing I'm adding here is just those designs. But one thing I might add here is maybe just some sports clip art in here. And so my master store is the Circus Print shop, and that's got every template installed. So it's easy to go to that one because it's got everything installed. And so I got the whole menu to choose from. So that's where having your master store kind of set up with everything is pretty handy, because really all I really want to do here is go down to the sports category, and I could do a subcategory too, but I just want to go down to the sports category and add all the sports clip art. And maybe I don't want to add everything. Maybe I don't really need billiards or bowling or crew, or, maybe cycling. We don't really do that. So darts, I'm going to take that out of there. So all I'm doing is adding a very specific range of clip art to that store. And in this case, only 6 designs. I think it's a great idea to create some of your own custom designs and add them to your store. And it's so easy to do. Once you do it once, it's like, oh, wow, I wish I'd known that earlier, because it's such an easy thing to do. So we're going to click on Save and Publish, and then we're going to talk about the content block. So I'm going to go over here to Style Editor. Yeah, we probably want to do a little management here of this store. So let's see, we'll go down here, Manage Products, get rid of that one, we'll add the mug over here. Looking good. Yeah, looks pretty good. Let's go down here. We'll just delete this whole area right here. Remove component. And I could go and change the name of this so it doesn't say West Bulldogs anymore. But I think most folks know that if you click on the edit buttons, this is where all of the functionality of that particular component, we call them, is available via the edit button. One of the things that I always recommend doing is adding a promo bar. We can get rid of this promo bar real quick. So we'll just go down here and hit plus, and then we'll add a promo bar. And here's all of it. We'll kind of work from the bottom up. So here's all your layouts for testimonials. Here's your countdown timer layouts. Here's your request to quote layouts. Here's your hero space banners. That's what we've got going on here. Here's a slideshow. Here's a promo bar. And your product layouts right here, call to actions, or we like to call CTAs. Here's your content block. But we're just going to add the promo bar back here. And I'm going to use the same data that I had, so I don't have to retype it. And that's one of the other advantages of cloning a store, is I don't have to retype that. If I'm cloning the store and that's something that's standard on all my stores, it'll load that data for me. Maybe I wanted to localize the colors and come in here and maybe make that gray. One of the things that I did within this particular store with content block is we embedded the GraphicsFlow art portal in here. So in GraphicsFlow, every customer has the ability, that has a GraphicsFlow lead account, has the ability to have their own art portal. And that art portal has all the GraphicsFlow art. Your customer can go in here, just click on it, add an item. They can submit a design request. It comes into you. You don't have to bring it into Illustrator or Corel. You can edit the file right in GraphicsFlow and then pop it back to them in the form of an art approval, and then use that to populate all the art in your stores. And that's where all the art from all the stores I've showed you so far today that I've created, every single one of those stores has art from GraphicsFlow. What I can do with the art portal, instead of having this kind of generic page right here, I can go down into my art portal settings, and I can grab this embed code right here. And it's all the way at the bottom. So I'd copy that embed code. And this is where the content block is really handy, because all I really need to do now, I just go to Manage Content. You want to click on the little code view over here, and then just copy and paste that art portal copy in there, hit done, and your portal is embedded. And then if you want, you could add another block over here of text and put in, more specifics about what the portal is or instructions. That's a great use for the content block. We'll do another use for the content block here. We'll just create a new one. People ask me how I do this all the time, and I created a product in the designer for this particular store. I was logged in as administrator. I created the product in the designer, and I have what we call a sharing link for that product. So if I go back to storefront view, which is my preview, then I'm live in the store just like I'm any other customer. So I'm just going to click on this now to show you kind of what the customer experience is right here. So your customer now can click on that link and go in and change this to a different sport. Okay, so you have the ability to do that. So if you log into your store, I'd probably do it in my main store or in the store that you're going to add the design to. That's even better. And you log into that store and you take a design and you create your own design, or you go to GraphicsFlow. And in this case, this is a GraphicsFlow design. I saved a PDF with just this. That was the only thing that came in there. And then I went and typed in insert sport here and made it the same font because the GraphicsFlow fonts and the InkSoft fonts are matched up, then I have a customizable template. And all I did was save it. And then I went back and added it to the store. But the sharing link, that's right here. So what I did is I grabbed the sharing link, used the content block to link to it. I did one other thing. I went to next step. I screen captured this right here as my thumbnail. And I just used a little, in Windows or Mac, you have a little screen capture utility. I just used a little screen capture utility to grab that image right there. And then I just saved it as a PNG file and hit save. That's all I did. So I've got my sharing link. I've got my thumbnail. So I'm in Style Editor, and I'm going to use the content block. I'm just going to show you how I did this, but let's do a separate variation of it. So I'm going to go to plus, and I'm going to go to content block. And here's my content block. So up here, basic kind of word processing stuff. And if you are just typing in text and you want text to show up in here, you got your basic word processing stuff right here. This is where you color your text. You could just type in text, center it, align it. And this is where you might put in some copy. Over here is you have your insert link, you have insert image, you have insert video, and then you have undo, redo. And then this is where that HTML code view is. And so it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on in here, but because of this HTML code view, you have pretty much infinite possibilities of the types of things that you can incorporate into the content block, by virtue of embed code as well, like YouTube videos. So if I'm going to add a photo, what I'm going to do is going to say insert image, and I could drag and drop the photo in here, or I could just click on it. I've got that set up in there. It's automatically going to go to center alignment. The link is not going to show up until I have the image highlighted. I'm going to just say Control K too. I'm going to put a separate text link in here. I think I'm going to use like gray text in here just so you guys can see it. And then say customize this design. And I'm going to bold it. And eventually I'm going to turn this to white. But for right now, I'm going to bold it and I'm going to increase the font size. And again, hypertext link. I have to have it highlighted, but I want to put the URL in here, same URL, and hit insert. We have it highlighted through the text right here. And then we also have it highlighted in the object. And at this point, I'll just save and publish. And there you go. You're back to that design. You could do multiple designs on that page. You could stack in like 3 or 4 designs. If you're going to stack in designs, what you want to do is when you crop them, you want to give a little bit of room on the boundary. I wouldn't probably crop it super tight. I'd probably crop it out about right here. I think it's just a really neat way to engage your clients in something creative, because here's the thing, that people have a lot of choices out there. There's so many different options that are available to your customers to purchase, but the easier you can make it for them to buy, the more you're going to sell. And I think this concept of not only, creating a design where they can just customize one part, but also, like using your GraphicsFlow account to go in and add some just templates that are specific to just that customer. Might be a hospital, and the only thing you're doing is you have the hospital logo and the ability to change the department, or even personalization. You can even do this with like graduation signs. You can set up a sign product and they can go in and you can link to it. And when they link to it, they go in and change the family name. But over here, what I've done in this store, if I go to Browse Designs, is East Eagles Designs. There's 8 GraphicsFlow designs in here that are all fully customizable. Now it's senior shirt. And they can even go to do their own colorways, if they want to come in here and, maybe go to colors and put this on, a navy blue, they can do that. So all you're really doing is making it easy for your customer to buy from you. And the easier it is for them to buy from you, the more likely you are to sell, more revenue you generate, and most importantly, you keep your competitors at bay. It's just really hard to lose customers when you have them tied into stores. This whole concept of going in and creating an experience for your customer and just making it super easy for them to buy, I think is one of the very smartest things that you can do with your InkSoft store. So my goal today, and what Joel and I wanted to do with you guys today, is inspire you to go back and take a long, hard, honest look at your stores or your main store and say, hey, what can I do to really spice this up, make it look more visually appealing? The other thing we wanted to do is show you some of the use cases for using the content block to input content, being able to use customizable graphics, kind of add that extra interconnectivity for your clients. and maybe get you out of your comfort level a little bit and saying, hey, really, I can step it up. And it doesn't really take that much effort to do it. Maybe I'll sit down with a cup of coffee on Saturday morning and, start sprucing up some of my stores. So use store cloning. Store cloning is one of the best features we've ever developed, and store cloning with replace art and products in bulk is just magic. And so once you get that one store set up, you have so much latitude to spin off from there. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us. Thanks, Joel. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today. And we'll see you on the next InkSoft Academy.